Hello everyone, I'm Nathaniel Freeman and this is Freeman's Money. And today we're going to be talking about your own emergency fund. But before we get into that, obviously I need to tell you I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not anything like this. That I'm just a guy doing this myself and I'm sharing my experiences with you guys and my opinions about financial troubles or issues we all have. Anyway, so emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? It is money people set aside for emergencies. Now, what everybody recommends is 3 to 6 months, and I absolutely agree with keeping 6 months on the side, spare cash. It can take a long time to build up, but having that safety net is absolutely something we all should have, especially if you have family, wife, kids. And what I mean, let's define what 3 to 6 months of savings means. It means that you can pay for your entire living expense as it is now with you losing your job. So if you spend $3,000 a month in your total household spending, that includes your mortgage, heat, utilities, food, everything, then you would want 6 months of that 3,000 built up, which would be around 18,000. Now, that is a long time. That does take a long time to save up, and it is important. I know we all got to do it though. It's a great thing to have. One thing that people recommend to me or have asked me if I think this is a good idea is instead of saving up that money, if having that spare space on a credit card would count, or having that in a line of credit would count as an emergency savings. And I would say absolutely not. And the reason for that is because when you spend 18 or let's say $10,000 on your credit card, now you're getting on average it's about 20% interest. And paying that interest off is just it's detrimental to your whole financial future and can set you back substantially. Now, also another thing is some people count their investments as an emergency fund, and that's again way off the base. Like if you pull from your investments to pay for your things right now, then you're pulling from your you're pulling from your future when you pull from your investments. When you put it on a credit card, you're pulling yourself back in your future because now you have to pay interest on that. So having that emergency fund on the side, usually in a savings account, and you want to be making about 2% in that account because that's going to keep up with inflation. Um, yeah, just I recommend everyone have an emergency fund. And when you have an emergency fund, because I see people fall into this trap a lot, they have the money on the side and then something that's not an emergency happens and they feel like, oh my God, it's the end of life. I have to spend this money. Like I've seen it where, oh, I'm feeling stressful, so I need to take a 2 week vacation, and I think they went to Cuba, and I'm like, what are you doing? You use your emergency fund. And they're like, yeah, but I really need that stress relief. And I'm like, okay, it's your money. Oh, another one was a buddy of mine, his TV broke. So then he went out and he got a $3,000 TV using his emergency fund he built up. And I'm just like, that's not what your emergency fund is supposed to be used for. It is for emergencies where if you lose your job or if your vehicle breaks down and you can't get to work or anything along those lines to where it's an urgency and it will change your life substantially if you can't fix that problem. Well, I guess you watch TV a lot, but still, you understand my point here. You can go out and buy $100 TV and just pay that off with your next paycheck if you have that extra cash flow. But you really should have an emergency fund built up. I recommend 6 months because nobody knows what could happen. I think a lot of people are going to start doing that now that we've seen what happened with COVID. And people are a little scared that that might happen again. A lot of people lost their jobs. Now I'm hoping that people will start building up that emergency fund and just keeping it on the side. But we'll see. But that's my advice for people who are wondering, hey, should I have an emergency fund? Should I not have an emergency fund? Absolutely. I recommend 6 months. I'm building that up myself. I don't have that. But I am building towards that. And that's something we should all do. Like and subscribe if you like the channel or you like this video. And if you like the channel, you should like and subscribe as well. Have a great afternoon.